Hello and welcome back to episode 13 of my MyTeam career mode. We're back once again for the Russian Grand Prix this time, and we've got about a week to go until it all kicks off. So we're going to throw a few things into our weekly activities, and then I think other than that we're just going to knock the engines down to the practice engines ready for P1, and then we are very close to needing to take a new ICE, which isn't ideal because we've still got 7 races to go. But I don't think this one's going to make it to the end of the season, which is going to cause us some problems in the long run. Maybe we'll take that ahead of Singapore or USA. We'll have to see, because they might be circuits where, yeah, the fresh engine in Singapore, we might be able to use it to get round on our out lap and our in laps a bit quicker to jump some people during the pit stops perhaps. That might be a shout for us. Or Mexico, where we've got the extra drag down the straights, of course. But as we head into Russia, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I've never been a big fan of the Russian Grand Prix, not necessarily because I don't do well at it. I just don't enjoy it as a race very much. We're just short of most things. We could get the pistons, which would make us one of the best power units on the grid. But I think we'll wait and get maybe the ECU, which might push us up a bit further. If we have a look into the chassis, that's where we're really struggling, as well as in the aero. So maybe we'll be better to go for the aerodynamics instead and go for one of the weaker parts of the car. I think we'll aim for that. We'll go off after chassis and aerodynamics, headed into the last few races. And just before we head into practice, as you can see, we're looking like it's going to be a very dry weekend. We shouldn't have any problems at all from the looks of it. We've had upgrades on 3 parts of the car, which sees us get right up onto the back of Williams, although there is improvement from Alfa Romeo and Alpine ahead of us. But I reckon we're in a position where we can probably just about hang on to the back of that battle, or maybe even get just ahead of them and hang on to the Aston Martin or the AlphaTauri with a good performance. Depends how the engine performs as well. Let's head into practice and I'll see you in qualifying. So we've got one lap out the way already. However, it didn't go well. We exceeded track limits, so we're out here for a second run, and hopefully this time we can make sure we stay within track limits and get everything that we need to do. Russia, as I said, not a big fan of this circuit, more just because I don't find it very entertaining, but it is what it is. It's fine. You can see here we go a little bit wide on that corner, but we are still up on the time. I don't know who that's in comparison to. I've never known in qualifying who it compares you to. I would imagine probably like the elimination zone, maybe. But we nearly exceed track limits there as we head into the second DRS section. But now accelerating through here, we've got a good time going so far. How's this going to compare? We are now slightly down on the time, which I think it's comparing us to Tictum looking at that. And we come through this final section that can be quite strong for me. We go a little bit wide there. We lose the back end and there goes the front wing, and that is qualifying over for us there.
Damage to the rear wing. You have damage to your rear wing. Suggest we box to repair it.
So we are going to head straight into the pits with that front wing damage, and we are out in Q1.
Welcome one and all to today's Grand Prix here in southern Russia. A beautiful location besides the Black Sea, and a race that has historically been dominated by the Silver Arrows. Mercedes have won here 6 times since the first race in 2014. Can someone else muscle in on that record here today? Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Gasly, Tsunoda, Vettel and Lance Stroll, Raikkonen, Ocon, Antonio Giovinazzi and Ricciardo, Russell, Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi and Nikita Mazepin, Fernando Alonso, Ace, Tigtum, they've taken a grid penalty, and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
So after the mistake in qualifying, I decided we'd take the new engine as well. We've ended up in 20th because Dan and Lando have also taken grid penalties. Nevertheless, we're going to be going in. We're going to go for the soft medium. We're going to stick with the more traditional strategy this time, in hopes that we can, get just a better performance. Maybe find our position early in the race rather than try and battle through. I don't think we've got the car to battle through. However, off the start, we've had a poor start, but it appears Lando also had a poor start. He's gone for the medium, so he somewhat would be expecting to get the poorer start. We go for a big dive down the inside. We're alongside Schumacher here through turn 2. We do lose out to him, and now we've got Giovinazzi to our left, and we're losing out to him as well as we go around the long turn 3. We go for a dive in on turn 4, and we squeeze Giovinazzi out. Probably slightly unfairly. I think we might have forced him off the track a little bit, but we'll keep that quiet. No one needs to know. And now we follow Schumacher into turn 7, and I don't know how we got away with that one. We nearly went into the back of Schumacher there. I didn't anticipate the hard braking as much as maybe I should have done. We exceed track limits a little bit there, but now we're going to accelerate down the straight after turn 10 through the turn 11, and on the back of Ocon. We're a bit too far back to go for a dive here. We're going to go for it anyway, and we just about pull it off. We nearly ended up in the back of Raikkonen. It was a very aggressive overtake, but we've gotten away with it, and now we can focus on going after Raikkonen. Of course, one of the people that we're currently in battle with is our rival at the moment, as Bottas sets the fastest lap on the first lap, somewhat expected, and we get a very silly exceeding track limits warning at the end of the lap.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
That does mean we're going to have to be very careful throughout the rest of the race not to exceed track limits again. We have DRS on Raikkonen, but we're never really close enough to go for an attack. And at the moment now, we're just going to try and follow him through, pull ourselves away from Ocon and Schumacher a bit. We can see on the map, Dan is at the back, apart from one of the Williams who's pitted already. I think he might have had front wing damage. I didn't catch it until just now. So Dan with another poor start to a race. Who saw that coming? And now as we come into turn 13, we get very close to the back of Kimi Raikkonen. Can we get aggressive through turn 15 and 16? We don't manage to, and then one lap later, through the DRS straight of turn 11 and into 12 and 13, we go up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen, and that's a much cleaner overtake than what we did on Ocon, and gets us up into 12th place as we nearly exceed track limits. So that would have been a very silly way to get that 3-second penalty. But now we're just going to try do the same as we've done a moment ago, and the same as we've done in previous races. Just try and hold on to the back of Stroll, see if he can pull us away from Raikkonen as well. As we head into turn 2, we do seem to have the pace on Stroll, which is strange. I never feel like I have the pace on Vettel. I always feel like I've got the pace on Stroll. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. They probably have got individual stats. I don't know how that didn't count as exceeding track limits there. We definitely went wide on turn 5, but we're not going to complain. As we head into this turn 7 section, this is a very fun, fast left-hander here that you can really get aggressive on the outside curbs. As long as you trust yourself not to exceed the limits. We've got DRS on Stroll, but it wasn't close enough. One lap later again, don't know how we've got away with that one. And this time we accelerate out of turn 10. We've got DRS again on Stroll. We're a little bit closer to him this time, but with him having DRS we're getting a bit far back. But we're gonna go for a dive down the inside. We nearly lose it as we come out of the corner, but now as we accelerate through turn 14 we have managed to get ahead of Stroll now, which means next target, let's latch onto the back of Ricciardo and get Stroll well out of our rear view mirrors. And that's what we're trying to do, but it's not really happening at the moment. A couple laps later, we're just kind of, Stroll's just following us through. I think there's a AlphaTauri at the front of this. I think it's Gasly that seems to be holding everyone up.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
Because you can see ahead of the AlphaTauri on the map, the gap to the Ferrari ahead of them. I think Ricciardo in particular is struggling as a result of this. And also on the map you can see Lando Norris stuck behind a couple of cars, but he's playing the long game, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out for him. Yeah, maybe later on in the race he'll be in a brilliant position. We are heading into the pits on lap 11 now. We've got a group of us coming in at the same time, a full 5 cars, almost like nose to rear coming through, and then you'll just see here each one of them slowly dropping into their pit crews. And then here we come for ours. Can we benefit from being at the end of the pit lane? Has anyone got held up? We've come out behind the AlphaTauri. We've jumped Ricciardo in the pit lane. What I didn't show though is it kind of phased me into Tsunoda to do that, which made it feel a little bit cheap, but it's not my problem. The game chose to do it. And we accelerate now through turn 2 and then into this long left-hander of turn 3. We are going to be really under pressure from Ricciardo almost straight away in that McLaren. But most importantly at the moment we're thinking, can we get ahead of some of the cars ahead of us? We didn't get past Gasly when he pitted, unfortunately. Ricciardo goes past us here. Nothing we can really do about that, and nothing I really wanted to do about it. I think battling Ricciardo would have been more detriment to our race rather than actually helping us. Yeah, we're not battling for position with a McLaren. We're not good enough yet. But then as we come through on lap 13, Vettel is coming out of the pits just behind us and he slots in ahead of Stroll. He's got slightly fresher tyres,
To P12.
so that'll be interesting to see how he deals with this. As you can see on the map, you might not be able to tell, that's Lando Norris just going round turn 9, I think it is.
Some information on Leclerc. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
And as there's a problem with Leclerc, we've got Sebastian Vettel coming up the inside of us, but we managed to hold him off. However, later in the lap, we've lost the position this time we'd go for a dive, but we're not quite close enough to take that position back. Not sure what editing Andrew was doing here to miss the overtake, but now we're following Vettel up to Latifi. He's pulled us away from Stroll a bit, which is quite nice. And now can we pull a move on Latifi in the Williams? I think he's only recently pitted. I think he stayed out quite a bit longer. He tries to shut the door on us, but we go for the dive down the inside. And actually thinking about it, maybe it's Latifi that pitted on the first lap.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
No, because we've still got a Williams really far back. Never mind. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's early in the morning. But we're following Vettel. Hamilton is out of the race. What's happened here? So he's following... I can't see who that is. I imagine it's probably Verstappen. And it's just his engine's gone. The Mercedes engine has failed Lewis Hamilton. And that has put us into the points. We are now in 10th place. However, we have got behind us Lando Norris on a charge. He's pitted for the soft tyres. And now he's going to be trying to make his way through the field. And he's only 4 cars behind us. There's Stroll, Raikkonen, one of the Alpines, and then Lando Norris. So we're going to have a battle to hold him off if he does get close. And you can see here as we come through the final sector, turn 15, 16 on lap 20, Lando Norris is already on the back of Stroll. We've got 7 laps before before the end of the race, so we need Stroll to hold him up massively.
Is 30.8 seconds.
And no surprise here, Dan is severely behind. And then lap 22 here, we're going to see we've dropped off Vettel, which is causing us problems. And on top of that, Lando Norris is up into 11th place. You can see in the rearview mirror there him battling with Stroll, but he takes a position. And then later in the lap, he's going to have DRS on us here after turn 10, and he's getting aggressive early on. He's going to be coming straight for this position. Can he find it? He's just a little bit too far back on this occasion. He nearly goes into the back of us there. I don't know what he was playing at there. But now, as we come through turn 14 and 15, he's up alongside us. Through turn 16, he's already going past us. Not a conventional overtaking spot, but Lando Norris not messing around. He's making the most of what he can from that grid penalty scenario that he found himself in. And now as we enter lap 24, you can see Lando already pulled well away from us. And even worse, he's brought Stroll with him. So we're now having to defend from Stroll down into turn 2. He's going up the outside of us. And we are able to outbrake him, are we? Just about. It was there's not a lot of room going into turn 2, but we've managed to hold him off. And then on the final lap here, we've got Stroll coming up the inside of us into turn 4. And again, we're just able to shut the door on him. I think if he'd gone past us, he would have been...
Gap ahead is 7.6 seconds.
Would have been on the verge of exceeding the track limits for the overtake. But now we've got one more DRS straight that we've got to hold Stroll off. And he's under 3/10 behind us. This could be a very close battle as we see Bottas picking up the win in Hamilton's absence. Doing a favour for Mercedes. But Stroll now going up the inside of us through turn 12 into turn 13. Can we do enough? We do just about enough. That is a great spot for defending if you can get on the inside line. Or the flip side, obviously, if you're on the inside line and going for the overtake, I think it's a fantastic spot. As we saw from Verstappen in the Russian Grand Prix in real life a few weeks ago. And we end the race in 11th. We miss out on the points, unfortunately. But overall,
Right, race over.
a
Take
good
care of the
performance
car on the
from
way in.
20th on the grid.
Race then, and a fantastic win here
So
at
Mercedes pick up the win through Valtteri Bottas. Not sure who's on the podium yet though. There's at least one Red Bull. And it's definitely a battle at the top between, well, really both Mercedes and Verstappen for the Drivers' Championship. It's very close between all of them. And it's both Red Bulls on the podium. Perez in second, Verstappen is third. So it'll be interesting in just a moment. We'll have a look at how that's affecting the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. Unfortunately for us, we do miss out on points this time round. It was just Lando Norris's pure pace in the second half of that race. After he pitted, there was just nothing we could do about it. Verstappen finishing third means he does pick up the point for fastest lap. As you can see, down in 11th, we had a good performance. Dan, on the other hand, down in 19th. It's not ideal. He's only got Mazepin and Russell, who pitted early on for damage, behind him. Verstappen 70 points ahead of Bottas and Hamilton. However, Perez also struggling a little bit in that Red Bull. 26 points between them in the Constructors' Championship. It's looking like a very tasty title fight there. If you have enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Comment what you think we should do heading into the end of the season. I'll be honest, we've got FM22 coming out soon, so I'm trying to get as many videos out as I can. But FM will be taking a bit of a priority in the coming weeks due to it being a new game and also my favourite game of the year every year. But I will do my best to keep some F1 content coming for you. Of course, we've now got the scenario where for Season 2 we'll have Imola and Portugal on the calendar. If you have enjoyed that, please do subscribe and thank you very much for watching.